premises. This is to serve as your final notice for the purposes of terminating your ownership of Croft Manor. You are required to immediately vacate and surrender possession of said manor to Atlas de Mornay, executor of estates.
Lara, it is unfortunate that you have forced my hand in this matter, but so be it. As you know, your parents appointed me executor of the estate in the event of their absence. Since your mother disappeared, her death was never technically declared. And given the circumstances surrounding your father's death, it's no surprise that he never drafted a formal last will and testament to account for this circumstance. Unfortunately, you have no legal claims to the estate. I'm willing to negotiate a modest monthly stipend from your trust, but only if you leave the manor by week's end. Don't fight me on this, Lara. Your mother wouldn't want that. Sincerely, Atlas.
There has to be a will or some kind of evidence of what happened to Mum in the manor, somewhere. Dad's safe. My birthday crown. I was so proud of that thing. That's my handwriting. My penmanship was pretty good.
Well, this is a hell of a thing. I met someone tonight quite unexpectedly. But it shouldn't have been, it seems. I've been so buried in my work, so distracted by my latest revelations, I never bothered to notice my surroundings. But there she was, sitting at my table in the library. Her name is Amelia, and apparently she's been studying right next to me. Art history, of all things. I shared some of my research against my better judgment, but I wanted to see how she would respond, and she did not disappoint. I felt as if I was suddenly engaged in a mental game of chess, moving and counter-moving in argument. At one point, that poor old librarian had to shush us as if we were children. I feel so foolish for not having noticed her earlier. She's a brilliant woman who's challenged my ideas for the first time in memory. In truth, I don't know if she's feeling as exhilarated as I am right now, but I dare say our conversation was mutually stimulating.
My parents made a good team, challenging each other from the start.
I finally introduced Richard to the family. It went precisely how I imagined.
It must have been hard for Mum to go against her family's wishes. I'm glad she did. Dad's book about immortality myths might be useful in my research. Dad's map of the forgotten cities of northern Syria. He was closer than he knew to finding the Prophet's tomb. This is probably my grandfather Benjamin. A picture with Dad and Anna. Never liked wearing dresses, but one of Dad's Yoruba masks, a gift from a friend he met on Dad would have liked me to go to Oxford, but I insisted on UCL. Yep, looks real. Roth once offered to forge me a fake diploma to show. Needs a combination. It's got to be in Dad's papers somewhere. Maybe in the library. The door to the library. Locked. There's got to... This is the map I made for my first expedition with Dad. It shows a path to the library through the servants' passages. another way through. Too dark. Going to need a flashlight.
Lara, I've reviewed the report from your therapist. I have to say I was surprised to see a clean bill of health. I somehow doubt you've so easily abandoned your irrational claims. Indeed, where have you been the past few weeks? My secretary discovered that you booked a flight to Turkey on the 20th. You can't have been simply sightseeing, as your customs claims suggest. I know you're up to something, and I'll be damned if I let you use the Croft assets to indulge the same obsession that led to my sister's death. It's not too late to relinquish your claims on the manor voluntarily. If you
The Grand Hall. Always loved playing in here as a kid. This will be one of the first things to fix.
What are you doing sitting there on the floor, Mistress Lara?
Looking at the compass, thinking.
What about, if I may inquire?
Just thinking about discovering faraway places, about finding adventure.
Got to remember to pack this for my next trip. Should be able to explore the dark now. Hey, Jonah. Sorry for not getting back to you sooner. I've decided to do some research at the manor. A lot has happened, and I need some time to think about what I want to do next. This old place is filled with memories and secrets. Uncle Atlas has tried to keep me out of here for so long, I don't even know if I want to keep it. But after everything that's happened, maybe I can find out what it still means to me, if it's worth finding.
I'm sure you will, my lady. You've the soul of an explorer. But don't grow up too fast.
Falling apart. Maybe I should just let my uncle have this place.
They say a good test of a relationship is how well you travel together. Well, I'd say Amelia and I have passed that test with flying colors. Indeed, these last few months in Egypt have been nothing short of extraordinary. She and Roth get on like old uni chums. In fact, the two have spent more than a few nights drinking and playing cards into the wee hours. Despite her decidedly proper upbringing, Amelia's taken to roughing it more than I ever have. She fits in and connects with the local populace with such amazing empathy. Because of her, I've had a bit of an unexpected breakthrough in my research. She managed to convince an artifact dealer in Old Town to sell me a magnificent and quite unusual Tibetan scroll. From what I can tell, it seems to contain details surrounding an immortality ritual of some sort. I think it's time for me to...
I'm not surprised he asked her to marry him as soon as he got the idea.
Amelia, I know we have had our differences in recent years. I've tried my best to keep an open mind about your relationship with Richard, but I just can't let you go on this ill-conceived expedition without saying my piece. You say Richard's theories have merit. You say that he may have actually stumbled upon some mythic, unknown truth, but I have seen nothing to support such claims. And while your word may have been enough in times past, I cannot let you squander away what remains of your name and reputation, and that of our family, truth be told, on some damned foolish crusade. I intend to go to Richard's investors and...
Still just as creepy as I remember.
My lord, I hope this missive finds you on a successful expedition and in good health. Before I bore you with estate affairs, I wanted to let you know that our little angel has been into some mischief. As always, I indulged her in our usual game of chess. Over the course of the game, she broached the subject of her mother. She's having trouble remembering her now, and wanted to enter her ladyship's atelier, which you sealed off, to play on her mother's piano. It enraged her when she wasn't allowed to go in, of course. For someone so young, she has such strong emotions. Later in the day, she set a trap for me in the walk-in freezer, of all places. Before I knew what was happening, I found myself locked inside. Mrs. Sheffield discovered me an hour later, shivering and somewhat...
Poor Winston. I remember being so angry. He was always so patient with me.
King to Queen 1. I'm going to win this time, Winston.
Clever.
I would play chess with our old butler Winston on this board. Never could beat him. I always chose white. Maybe if I let him go first once in a while, I might have won.
But you should know by now, winning isn't everything. Queen to King's Bishop 6. Check.
Easy for you to say. You always win. Knight takes queen.
What I mean to say is try to enjoy the journey, Lara. Don't rush to victory. Bishop to King 7.
I know, Winston. I just want... Oh no! I didn't even see that!
You should also know by now, I'm not to be trifled with on this board, young
I'm at a crossroads.
lady. Mate. Everything is almost ready for Mistress Lara's birthday expedition surprise. It's been a bit of an all-hands-on-deck effort organizing the affair and keeping it secret. She's obsessed with Egypt, memorizing hieroglyphs and ancient Egyptian districts, so she'll be delighted with what Lord Croft has come up with. This will be good for...
Dad, this is it! The basement of despair.
Indeed, Lara. Muster your courage, for this is the only path to the Library of Infinite Knowledge.
Look there! See the string?
An ancient Egyptian tripwire. The Keepers of Knowledge want none to disturb their treasures. We must tread carefully.
Let me lead. I know how to spot all the traps.
I'm sure you do, my darling. Lead on!
My stuffed bear. I couldn't have a tomb without a mummy. One of the wire traps Winston made for my birthday expedition. Winston used my hair ribbons to make this. He and Dad put a lot of work into this birthday surprise. Water damage from the main hall above. Plans for adding electricity to the manor. Dad used to say his granny hated all the bright lights. There's a missing page.
Amelia left tonight. She packed her suitcase and walked right out of here, and I didn't even notice. Like those days in the Oxford Library before we even met. I just had my nose in a book, lost in my own world. I am such a fool. I have let my obsession with this damned ritual of long life rule my better judgment for far too long, and it may already be too late. How could I have not seen this coming? I've made this mistake over and over, always putting my...
Okay, Dad's ledger has to be in here somewhere. Hopefully it has the combination to the safe.
I've created a clever little map for Lara's birthday expedition. I used the invisible ink Amelia picked up for me in Morocco so many years ago. At the time, I remember being so annoyed by that rather aggressive street vendor, but she just smiled in her sunny way and paid him without a second thought. I assumed it was just a tourist scam, but it actually works. Turns out it requires a very specific kind of vellum and a heat source to illuminate the ink after it's dried. It should prove a nice challenge for...
I remember this now. Each district in ancient Egypt had a symbol and a number. I always preferred these symbols to the actual number hieroglyphs.
Now, let me see. These two myths...
This was always one of my favorite books in this library. I used to trace hieroglyphs.
referencing the same source material. But where did I see this image?
Dad, I think it's this one. In the chapter on Egyptian districts.
Why, yes, I think you're right, Lara.
I remember the page with the illustration of Ra.
My goodness, you've been paying attention, haven't you? This could be an important breakthrough.
Does this mean I'm your research assistant?
I've reached the monastery. As Roth predicted, it was hidden deep in the Himalayas. And now that I'm standing on these high stone walls, I am overwhelmed by the sheer beauty of the mountains that surround me. It is simply breathtaking. But what adds to their spiritual majesty is the truth of this place. The monks welcomed me, as is their way.
Dad was looking for an elixir. Was it the elixir of life?
For God's sake, memorize the combination, you fool. Lara's expedition treasure, my favorite painting by Amelia, the day of our wedding anniversary.
Okay, got to find those objects to figure out the combination to the safe. There's something else here. This is my handiwork. I used to love drawing pictures. Spent so many hours in here, reading, dreaming of my own adventures.
I always accepted that Richard's rather unorthodox research was just something I had to live with. But this time, the thrill of discovery has taken hold of me. I never imagined I could be drawn in this way. Richard cabled to tell me he's found the monastery. The symbol we deciphered in the scroll was the key to its location. I don't know if I honestly believe that this will lead to the fabled elixir.
This music is familiar. It's beautiful. It appears Sir Reginald's helmet fell off. Or didn't I put it back properly? Took quite a tumble off of this old thing when I was a girl. Still feel it in the shoulder from time to time. Dad's lighter. I don't remember him ever using it, though. The Croft family crest and initials P. Okay, should be able to light the fireplace now.
That and more, my darling girl.
Takes me back. Those were good times. The best times. This picture was taken in the library. (1820) additions to the main hall in progress. Blank, except for the image of a key. I remember this map now. It leads to the master key, but we made it with a special kind of invisible ink. It could only be seen with the heat of a fire. I think I stashed one of Winston's master keys in here when I was a kid. I can see the map. Looks like the key is hidden under a trunk near the bookcase. X marks the spot, as they say. The master key. This should get me into the West Wing. All right. This should open most rooms in the manor, including the Forbidden West Wing. The Pharaoh's crown from my birthday treasure hunt. How old was I again? 6? 8? I think this hieroglyph corresponds to a number, but which one? Okay, Dad's clues mention Mum's paintings and their anniversary. Hopefully I can find some answers in the West Wing.
For God's sake, memorize the combination, you fool. Lara's expedition. Lara, you know the West Wing is off limits.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to see...
We've been through this.